Good evening, everyone. I am glad to see you here. I'm glad that we are able to see one another here, and I'm so glad for all of you who can join us from home, whether it's right this second as we're doing it or at some point after watching the recording. I'm going to ask you to take just a moment to make silent all of your electronic devices so that we can celebrate the joy and the peace of Christmas together. Because there are so many carols this evening, we're only going to rise tonight to sing a few of them. I will indicate when. Please do use those carol booklets for our singing and the responsive reading too. Our hymnal has updated lyrics in some cases to match Unitarian Universalist theology, but on Christmas Eve we like to use the traditional words. We know that some of you much prefer that, and so we want to make sure that we have the right words that we're singing all together. There's one more thing that I do want to say before we get started, and I will repeat this again when we talk about the candle lighting for Silent Night. Normally, after we have lit our candles and we've enjoyed them, we all blow them out. Tonight, you may not blow them out because you need to keep your masks up for the sake of health and safety. So what I'm going to do is ask you actually to very, very carefully take your candles outside and then take off your masks and blow them out there. Or if you're really daring and know how to pinch a flame out without hurting yourself, you may do that. I will not be responsible for singed fingers. Let's begin. On this night, we come together in the celebration of mystery, the birth of a child that changes the world, a touch of magic that lingers on our souls, myth and metaphor that tells a deep truth through stories of struggle and hope, wisdom and peace, joy and wonder. On this night, we have permission to believe in the unbelievable. Virgin births, choirs of angels, dreams of deliverance, gifts that appear from loving strangers, peace on earth and goodwill to all. On this night, we continue the tradition of seeking answers to ancient riddles and prophecy. Therefore the Lord will give you a sign. Behold, a young woman shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, authority shall rest upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. On this night, we watch for portents and omens. We seek truer translations and better answers. We ask who this child may be. We cherish the star that leads us onward. This is what we do. This is who we are, makers of meaning and promises. We take mystery and we turn it into hope. So let us know these promises for what they are: covenants of peace and goodwill, covenants of justice and mercy, covenants of love and kindness, covenants that we affirm again and again, year after year. We lift up these stories as a star that we can follow, hoping to become our own magi, our own wise folk, fulfilling the promise, offering precious gifts of our own to this world. Please rise in body or in spirit, and we will speak together hang on. There we go. And we will speak together our chalice lighting. It is For So the Children Come. It is on page 11 in your booklet. I'll read the words in Roman type, and you may respond with the words in italics. For so the children come, and so they have been coming.
Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman.
No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses.
No wise men see a star to show or to find babe that will save humankind.
Yet each night a child is born is a holy night.
Fathers and mothers, sitting beside their children's graves, feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning.
They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end?
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping.
We will join together in singing, O come, Emmanuel. It is in your booklet.
Then, in those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
Ready? Not ready? Christmas is upon us. The celebration waits neither for schedules nor psyche's preparation. Nature's symmetry, rhythmic rounding toward light, isn't reflected inevitably. The human heart's season travels an irregular course. Christmas may coincide exactly when life least moves toward joyful proclamation. Nonetheless, Christmas is upon us, arriving precisely. When long night is darkest, coldest, loneliest, it comes. It comes to break open our lonely restraint. It comes to break down our cold resistance. It comes to break in upon our darkened resistance. Unprepared, let Christmas reside in our midst, dwell among us, inhabit our lives with warmth and light. Ready, not ready, prepare your ears to hear, your eyes to see, your hearts to receive, your hands to serve. Christmas's healing annunciation lying within, through, beyond despair is here. Peace, goodwill, love.
In that region, there were shepherds sleeping in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill to all." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, The shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these things, these words, and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told to them.
Again and again at Christmas time, I hear adults say wistfully, almost as if hoping someone will say it isn't so, Christmas is for the children, isn't it? Often, my answer has been, no, Santa Clausmas is for the children. Christmas is of, by, and for the grown-ups. Christmas is for you. Khalil Gibran did not write his lines on joy and sorrow as a Christmas piece, but there is a sense in which they apply to this season. Some of you say, joy is greater than sorrow, and others say, nay, sorrow is the greater. But I say to you that they are inseparable. Together they come. We don't see much nowadays of the Christmas symbol of the rose and the thorn, but it is there in the tradition. On the surface, it focuses on the contrast between the tenderness and purity of the newborn infant Jesus and the harsh cruelty of his eventual death. It may also remind us that this festival itself was not born in joy, but in travail. There are those who would like to welcome the holidays with joy. They would like to celebrate with gladness, but they cannot. Perhaps an excessive Santa Clausism can leave us in an arrested, self-centered, materialistic immaturity. Too many memories of things we wanted for Christmas but didn't get. Things we wanted and got and then found they weren't actually worth having. Perhaps what we really wanted was to receive love, but instead we got only things. Or perhaps we live with some genuine sorrow that struck at the Christmas season when we had wanted only joy. The symbol of the rose and the thorn gives us perspective. It tells us that joy and sorrow are inseparable. Together they come, now and always. So if some year Christmas is too much for you, then celebrate solstice or Yuletide. Whatever you call it, let the shining lights of this ancient festival symbolize the desperately needed lights of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, compassion, justice, generosity, and goodwill. Christmas was created by grown-ups, for celebration by grown-ups and everyone, and it is for you.
In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for this child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road.
Oh
Take Christmas. Take the ancient, the medieval, and the modern. Take what is sacred, secular, solemn, and silly. Take Teutonic evergreen, and Persian sun, and Druid mistletoe. Take Jewish flame, and Greek feast, and Roman present. Take a Bethlehem babe in a stable surrounded by shepherds and kings with a brilliant star overhead. Take a Mideastern saint transformed through the centuries into a red-suited elf with a sack full of toys and a reindeer-drawn sleigh. Take music from as many countries as the imagination can grasp. Take Amal and Scrooge and Rudolph. Take lighted tree and punch bowl and greeting card. Take mittened carolers and charitable gifts and candlelight services. Take it all, or take any part. Take its light, its courage, its hope, its joy, its peace, its goodwill. Take Christmas. But to take it, you must give. There are so many blessings that are available to us in this time. And the words of Christopher Rabel remind us that the vast array of options and traditions and stories in which we can find meaning at this time of year are just waiting for us to take them into our hearts and minds. But he also reminds us that if all we do is take Christmas, then we will receive nothing. We will have missed the point entirely. In order to enjoy our blessings, we have to be willing to give of ourselves. Presents, yes, but also kindness and compassion and peace. We must give ourselves over to wonder and possibility, to the enchantment that comes with great hope and dreams of the best possible world for all people. And so tonight, in our offering, we try to help create the best possible world for all people. Just like the rest of our offerings this month, tonight's offering will benefit RIP Medical Debt. It's an organization that seeks to free people from unmanageable medical bills through purchasing and paying off bundled medical debt and paying it off with donations for pennies on the dollar. You'll see some information about them on the back of your order of service in the green box, if you're curious. Thus far, they have helped over 3 million individuals and families, paying off over $5.3 billion in medical debt. Our entire offering this evening will be given to this organization. You may give online or in the sanctuary. Our offering will now be gratefully received. for these gifts so generously given that help us to help the wider world that needs our help so very much. Thank you. Thank you. In body or in spirit, please rise as we sing Joy to the World. Be seated. No one is ever really ready for Christmas. If we were really all prepared, if every gift we had contemplated had been obtained, if every present was beautifully beribboned, if all the goodies our friends deserve were baked and cooled and stored just so, if each and every person we love was gathered for our celebration, if we never snapped at someone we care about, nor stopped short of being all that we could be, if our minds were 100% loving and our hearts were 100% generous, they truly would be ready. And then we truly would not need Christmas nearly so much. So come, Christmas, most needed of seasons. Come with the reminder that love does not depend upon perfection, but on willingness to risk connection. Come, Christmas, into the unready manger of our hearts, that we may feel new life and give flesh to the promise of hope that cries to bring healing into our world. So come, Christmas. Come, love. Come, hope. Be born in our unready hearts on this silent and holy night. We are makers of meaning and promises. We take mystery and we turn it into hope, into covenants of peace and goodwill, covenants of justice and mercy, covenants of love and kindness. These covenants that we affirm again and again, year after year. So after a moment of reflection, we will speak together this congregation's covenant, praying that our commitment to it will let it bloom within us, becoming goodness and peace for ourselves and the whole of the world. But for now, let us take a time in stillness together to welcome the joy and the peace and the magic and the mystery and the meaning of Christmas. Please rise, in body or in spirit, as we speak together the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now, we are going to do our usual and traditional candle lighting while we sing Silent Night. Just a reminder, for the sake of safety, if you are going to pass the light from person to person, you tip the unlit candle into the lit one, not the other way around. And as one more reminder, this evening we will need to not blow out our candles after the song is over, but instead we're going to ask you to take them outside and blow them out. We will gather them from you outside. We do want to keep our masks on in large groups, other than the two of us who have been up here for a bit. So let us join together in singing Silent Night. Before we do that, is there anybody who needs a candle who does not yet have one? All right, let's begin.
Oh
Please be seated for our postlude. While on many, many of these sorts of nights, one just wants to say Merry Christmas, I would like to say, congratulations on making it this far. This isn't the most unusual Christmas that we have had. I would call that last year's. But it is a little weird in and of itself. And so congratulations. May the coming days be many, 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 and better than the ones before. Merry Christmas, and a blessed New Year for you. Good night.